Back in 2019, it was the last time I drove and reviewed a Lexus LX. And at that time, it had already become old, kind of boring. The tech in it was bad, and that V8 just guzzled gas. And at the time, I said the big SUV was a big waste. Now, in 2025, we've got updated styling, updated interior and tech, and an all-new hardcore off-roading trim called the Overtrail. But here's the kicker, it's $118,000, which puts it way up there in the market. So my question is it still a big waste, or is this the luxury off-roading SUV you need? I'm Adam, this is TexasGarage. Let's get into it. So for 2025, the LX comes in a variety of different trims and configurations. You have the LX 600, which is the gas version of this thing, and then the LX 700H, which is the hybrid version. Both those come in premium trim, F-Sport handling, luxury, ultra luxury, but only the hybrid comes in the Overtrail trim, and that's what we're driving here, of course. And it's the most trail-ready Lexus LX ever produced. We're gonna dive into this one specifically, starting with the exterior design. Outside, this thing has presence. The earth paint has a military sand-like vibe that looks great, especially with the Overtrail touches. Matte gray spindle grille, black over fenders, dark chrome trim, and roof rails up top. The tires are 33-inch all-terrain tires on 18-inch wheels, and they're chunky in all the right ways. They give this Lexus serious Texas swagger, even if most buyers never actually take it off-road. The grille is still the big Lexus spindle design. Obviously, some say that this is getting old, but I think with the matte finish, it helps it look tougher and less flashy, and I don't mind it here. The LX is boxy, but it's not as squared off as the GX. It feels more upscale, more flagship, while still ready for the dirt. Out back, you've got a power liftgate with kick sensor. With the third row up, space is really tight. Enough for maybe a small grocery run, but not much else. Not even my camera bag will fit back here with the rear seats up. Lexus added a shelf system so that the folded third row sits flush with the floor, and you can stash smaller items underneath. It's clever, but it also means you're lifting heavy gear at least 6 inches higher to get it inside. This is already a tall SUV, so that extra lift is noticeable. If cargo space is top priority, something like the Tahoe or Escalade gives you more usable volume. Under the hood is Lexus's new 3.4-liter twin-turbo V6 hybrid, paired with a 10-speed automatic. It makes 457 horsepower and 583 pound-feet of torque, which is a massive jump in torque over the old V8. Towing is rated at 8,000 pounds, and the hybrid even assists in low range. So when you're off-road, the motor can help creep over rocks or push through snow with really precise throttle control. They've also waterproofed the hybrid battery here, giving the LX a 27.5-inch forwarding depth. That's the kind of exotic spec you usually see on Land Rovers, not Lexus. Inside, the LX finally feels like the luxury premium flagship it should be. Back in 2019, the cabin was full of buttons and a very outdated infotainment system and tech. This cabin is a huge step forward. Let me pick you up and give you a good look around. All right, first off, it is push button start. Let's kick it on. You get the graphics, the chimes, and you can see the new dual screen setup here in the Lexus, very reminiscent of older Infiniti products, but this is done a little bit nicer. You have the wide screen on top. It is touchscreen, just like you would expect. And you've got the screen down below, and this handles different functions from some of your off-roading settings to your lighting settings to your AC and heat controls. You still have a lot of physical buttons here as well. And I used to rag on Infiniti a lot for this setup. And I still think just a taller screen that's kind of split probably would work better, but it's not a huge deal. Below the AC and heat buttons, you have some more off-roading controls. You have your drive modes here, button for crawl control, off-road settings. Further down, you have heated and cooled seats, heated steering wheel, a bit of a tray back here, parking assist, USB-C ports for charging and interfacing with the infotainment system. You have the small Lexus gear shifter here, push over and up into reverse. We do have 360 cameras, which is great, not just for parking, but also for off-roading. Coming back down, over and down for drive, and push in here for park. You have another array of buttons here, including your electronic parking brake, auto hold button, locking center diff, traction control, and to adjust your height right here manually. Got cup holders and a nice wireless charging pad here, so you can just throw your phone. It doesn't really move around, especially with a grippy case, but it'll start wirelessly charging and works flawlessly in my experience. Center console, you've got the cool box in here, staple of the LX. It can be opened from either side. And of course, the material is nice and squishy for your elbow. Seats are fantastic. Also very nice materials, two-tone design, heated and cooled, like I said. Very comfortable on longer trips. Steering wheel is what you might expect from a Lexus. You've got your different controls on either side, paddle shifters here, and then a driver information screen that gives you a lot of different information, and a head-up display. Looking at the rear seats, you do have plenty of room back there for adults or kids. The third row, probably more geared for kids, but it's easy to get in and out the way that these seat tumbles. The middle row is heated and cooled seats, which is fantastic. And you've got your own AC and heat controls back there, and window shades, all really great. Back up to the front, our rear view mirror has the rear view camera mode, or you can just use the mirror. In big 3-row SUVs, it's really great to have this camera option. We also do have a sunroof here, no panoramic roof, but I think that's a good rundown of the interior. Let's go ahead and get this thing out on the road. On the road, the LX is extremely comfortable. The active height control and adaptive variable suspension work together to smooth out bumps and expansion joints. Even with those all-terrain tires, it feels refined and stable. Yes, there's a bit more hum from the tread, but you're still wrapped in Lexus quietness. The hybrid torque makes this big SUV feel effortless when merging or passing. Steering is light at low speeds, firming up as you go faster, so it feels easy to place in traffic and solid on the highway. It's not sporty, it's still a nearly 6,000-pound body-on-frame SUV, but it drives smaller than it looks. And that's great for in-city driving or being in traffic for sure. Moving to some fuel economy talk, this is kind of a more interesting part. The EPA rates this hybrid at 20 miles per gallon combined, but my tester here has been showing 14.4 miles to the gallon. I tried resetting the trip computer to get a more accurate reading for my driving, but I couldn't figure that out. I'm sure this being a review vehicle, it gets pushed harder. There's a lot more idling as people do pictures and video, as I do pictures and video. But still, seeing mid-teens in this hybrid, it makes me wonder if the system is working harder than it should be just to move all this weight. Definitely worth paying attention to if you're considering one, but still probably better than the old thirsty V8. Of course, we can't finish talking about the drive without talking about some off-roading. This is the Overtrail. You get real hardware here. Front and rear lockers, crawl control, turn assist, multi-terrain select, and the 33-inch all-terrain tires. Add the hybrid motor assist in low range and that 27.5-inch forwarding depth. And this is the most off-road capable LX ever. I didn't take it rock crawling, obviously, but the traction systems are smooth. The cameras help you see exactly where your wheels are, and the suspension keeps it controlled on rough dirt. If you own a piece of land you're driving on, or a hunting lease, or just want peace of mind, this trim delivers. All right, after all of that, let's quickly talk about the price, and we'll move on to some competition and my final thoughts and wrap this thing up. The base LX 600, it starts at just under $94,000, so you're not getting in this thing cheap no matter what you do. The LX 700H starts at $114,000, and as I mentioned, this one that I'm sitting in with destination charge and everything else is $118,000. Or just a little over. But what are you cross-shopping this with? You can look at the Escalade, obviously, a very large 3-row luxury SUV, the Lincoln Navigator, the Mercedes GLS, the Range Rover, and even the new Toyota Land Cruiser, which this is also based on. The Cadillac and Lincoln can give you way more cargo than this, but they're probably more flash and kind of everyday driving than what the Lexus is going for, especially this Overtrail trim. The Range Rover is probably the closest for mixing up luxury and performance, but you'll definitely be spending even more going for the Range Rover if you're speccing it at what this thing has. And the Land Cruiser is a great option, just as capable, but doesn't have the luxury and refinement that the Lexus does, obviously. With that, let's jump out and I'll give you some of my final thoughts. All right, so the question was Overtrail or Overkill, and I think Lexus nailed this one. Yeah, it's pricey, but it's a Lexus. The LX has always been their flagship and the highest priced SUV that they sold. Yeah, the cargo capacity isn't class leading, and I understand how some people would want better or more, especially if you're buying this with a family and real road tripping in mind. And I'm still kind of scratching my head on the fuel economy of this hybrid system. Should be better. I just wasn't seeing those results in my testing. But with the luxury you get with this, the interior tech, the nice styling, the go anywhere attitude, that you can still be very comfortable on highways or even city streets. It's definitely a top contender in its class, I would think, and really worth a test drive. That said, I hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please hit the thumbs up button, leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think about the LX Overtrail. Subscribe to the channel if you're not already. We do a different review every week. Really worth checking out. Lots of great content. Also, check out TXGarage.com, where we've got a lot of written reviews from a lot of great authors over there, including David Bolt, who also drove this and really liked it. Again, lots of great written content, news, reviews, event coverage, TXGarage.com. With that, that's all I got for this one. Thanks for watching.